please join us at the Disney Kitchen demonstration area as we give a warm welcome to our Disney chef.
You guys all having a good day so far? Yes? Well, it wasn't a very, rousing yes. You guys are probably pretty tired. Got here a little early for the Haunted Mansion Tiki Mug. Yep. How many of you guys went out to Trader Sam's early this morning? I saw it, we did a demo a little earlier. I saw the mug, it's really awesome. And Disney does some good things, but they definitely hit a home run on that one. Have you guys all been in the park all day? Yeah? So that's why it was like nap time, siesta a little bit, let's hang out in the shade. Well, let me introduce myself. My name is Jonathan Moshbeg. I am the chef over at Carsland Restaurants. That includes Lowe's DA Cafe, the Cozy Cone Hotel, Fillmore's, a couple of the carts over in Bugsland, the Churro cart and the Chiller cart. Been with the company for quite a few years. Got a lot of stories. Kind of like to break the ice by telling my first Disney memory story. I was probably 5 or 6 years old. In here, where it used to be a parking lot, walking up to Disneyland, the front gate, eyes wide, smacked right into a pole. That's my first memory. And so, crying, my parents trying to console me, boom, the next pole. So, I don't remember any rides that we went on, I don't remember anything we did, I just remember hitting poles. Yeah, I mean, Disney's been ingrained in my life since that moment, I guess. I was an annual pass holder when I was in high school. We used to go out to the old Tomorrowland Terrace, maybe it was Coke Terrace back then, dance, try to meet some girls. It's been a great experience. I want to thank you guys for being annual pass holders. It's really important, especially here in Disney. Without you guys, Disney California Adventure might not exist. So thank you guys very much for the job security for me as well. So what we're going to be making today, I don't know if they told you on the way in, we're going to be making some pumpkin bread. They used to have it over at Cookie's Kitchen, and I'm told that it was quite the hit with the APs. So we're gonna show you that. They actually don't serve it over there anymore, but if you wanted to make it at home, this is a good opportunity for you. It's a quick bread, it's fairly easy to make, so maybe involve some of the kids. This is literally all the ingredients we're going to need. So we're going to turn on our magic little oven here. We're going to preheat the oven to 350 degrees. And how many people are bakers here? Do you have anyone that bakes? A few people spread, open a box, a couple eggs, some oil. No? That's how I normally bake at home. It's easy, the kids like it. A little frosting. If it doesn't taste good, a little more frosting. So what we're going to do, we're going to kind of get our ingredients together. We're going to get dry ingredients and wet ingredients, and we're going to kind of make them happy here. So first we're going to add some cake flour. About a cup of cake flour, and then 3/4 of a cup of bread flour. We're using 2 different flours here for multiple reasons. Does anyone know the difference between cake flour, bread flour, all-purpose flour? I beg your pardon? The gluten, yeah, it's the amount of protein which will create the gluten. So cake flour is a little lighter, bread flour is a little more dense. AP is kind of right in the middle where you could kind of lean either way. If I were going to make this recipe at home, I don't usually have cake and bread flour at home, so I would just make it with AP flour. It turned out okay, but at Disney, we like to do it the right way. So this is what the ingredients call for, the recipe calls for. How many people have got a chance to meet Chef Jean-Marc from the Disneyland Bakery? No one. I need to make sure Chef Jean-Marc gets out more. He has his own bakery on the property. I don't know if you guys knew that. It is enormous, and it's not even big enough for the entire operation. He literally was named one of the top 10 pastry chefs in the country a couple months ago. So, I mean, it speaks volumes. He definitely deserves it and he earns it for reasons like this. I mean, he could just use all-purpose flour, not a big deal, and move on. So the reason, getting back to what we're doing, the reason that we're using both flours is because we don't want the pumpkin bread to be too dense, but we also don't want it to be too light. We want, you know, the airiness from the cake flour, and then the bread flour is just going to kind of hold it together a little bit. Next we're going to mix in some baking soda, leaven it a little bit, some nutmeg. Everyone's familiar with nutmeg. You can buy it fresh, kind of readily available anymore. Be kind of a pain to do all this nutmeg fresh. Tastes amazing, but most everyone has nutmeg in their cupboards. A little bit of that in there. If you guys do have the spices in your cupboards, recommendation is 2 to 3 years. If they're older than that, they're not going to go bad, but it might not give you the same, you know, same pop, especially nutmeg and cinnamon. When the cinnamon gets old at home, that's when we make cinnamon sugar, put it on toast, you know, make the kids happy. It's all about the kids. They're happy, mom's happy, dad's happy, everyone's happy. So we've got all of our dry ingredients here. Sugar technically doesn't count as a dry ingredient because we're going to cream it with the eggs. So normally Jean-Marc would sift the flour and all the ingredients, kind of mix it that way. I'm going to use a spoon because at home we're not going to sift the flour usually, right? This way we can kind of incorporate everything, mix it up, make the ingredients happy. If you do have a sifter at home, sweet. It'll add a little bit of air to your cake, make it a little lighter, fluffier. Again, if you made this 100 times, sifted it half the time, didn't sift it the other half, you might be able to tell the difference. But there's a right way and a wrong way. The wrong way is to spill the flour everywhere like that. While I'm mixing this up, let me tell you a little bit more about myself. I hired in 1999, so most of the kids here probably weren't even thought of back then. I hired in as a host over at River Belle Terrace. Back in the day with the Tom's Turkey and Hut's Ham Sandwich, Delta Stacks. Worked my way up to washing dishes because that was like 5 cents more an hour, so it was a big boost to my ego. Never really thought about working in the kitchen at all until I worked here for a couple of years. I was a leader in the area, and they said, "Hey, you know, why don't you like try to do this for a career or something?" You guys are crazy. No, I don't want to do that. I like cooking, but I don't want to do that for a job. And so, you know, I got the right chef, Chef Jesse Tiscarino. I don't know if any of you guys have ever seen him walk around the parks. She's currently in the Blue Bayou, but he kind of gave me a kick in the right direction, maybe a few kicks. And so I was working at Rancho del Zocalo at the time, and he said, "You need to get into table service." So I went over to work at Ariel's Grotto. So pretty much I learned a lot of cooking over there, kind of the leadership aspect, how the restaurant runs, and I kind of started paying attention, started liking it. So I kind of fed on that, and my chef over there, Chef Moses Carranza, who hopefully you guys have met. This guy bleeds Disney. He hired in before I was even born. He's been working here forever, but he has such a passion for cooking and, I mean, just being in a kitchen. So he kind of inspired me to take it seriously and move on. The rest isn't really history. It took a long time. I went to the Blue Bayou as a sous chef for 4 years. I had hair before I went there. Now under the hat, there's not much left. After Blue Bayou, I went over to Golden Vine Winery. Did about 3 years over there. Then I went to Ariel's Grotto again, but as an area chef. So when I was over there, we changed the menu up. If you guys haven't seen the Cove Bar expansion, I was there to see that expand. And you know, the lobster nachos. All you guys know about the lobster nachos, right? I'm sure you know about the line at the Cove Bar too. We tried to get rid of it, but the nachos are good. So, and now I'm in Carsland, hoping to bring some inspiration over there. Obviously, dry ingredients are mixed. We're going to move on. Let's get to our wet ingredients. Get some gloves on here for the eggs. Everyone here knows how to crack an egg. Pretty simple. Try to get the egg in the bowl, not the shell. We're not all perfect, so a little tip that I learned a long time ago is if you accidentally get some shell in the mix, just take the other in the little part of the shell, kind of drag it out, it'll act like a magnet. The shell will kind of stick, because if you go reaching, you know, it keeps moving and the egg white, you get frustrated. You don't want to be frustrated while you're cooking. So, crack a couple eggs in here. To that, we're going to add our sugar like I mentioned. A lot of sugar. This recipe tastes good, so everyone likes sugar. We're going to use pumpkin puree, not pumpkin pie mix. Big difference. If you're making pumpkin pie at home, you usually buy the can, you know, kind of mix it up with some eggs and whatever else, make your pie. This is just straight pumpkin. If you use the pumpkin pie mix, it won't taste very good. Because the pumpkin pie mix just has some extra seasonings and flavorings like the cinnamon and nutmeg that we already put in. And in doses, that's good. Too much might get overwhelming. So the pumpkin puree is a little thick. We're gonna add a little water just to thin it down a little bit, make our cake happy. And one thing you can do, you can add raisins to this mix. If I was gonna make this at home, I'd probably put some like toasted walnuts in it. You know, whatever you like, you can experiment with. That's what's beautiful about cooking. And baking is a science. You need to follow recipes more or less, but you know, play a little. What's fun about, you know, going on Pinterest and doing exactly what they say on Pinterest? Well, you get ideas, get inspired, and say, hey, I'm going to make that for the family today, or, you know, we're going to have friends over, we're going to make something fun. I don't know, we're going to make something up. That's what I try to do with my kids, because I know everyone gives me a hard time, but my kids are picky, so, you know, one time we tried to give them chicken and rice, and they literally looked, what is that? Well, that's chicken. That's not chicken. Well, yeah, that's chicken. No, chicken's brown. Like, well, this is the chicken without the crunchy stuff on the outside. I don't like that chicken. So we have to experiment with kids, you know. We do like skewers with them. Hey, come cook. And sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But I mean, this at home, I made this with my kids, and you know, they didn't end up eating the bread at the end, but they loved making it, and they were all excited about it. Daddy, here, keep eating the bread. So, you know, it's good. Cooking kind of brings us all together. So we've got our wet and our dry. Like I said, you can add the raisins, you don't have to. I like raisins. I'm going to add them, but maybe not all of them. Kind of fold them in there. And then what we're going to do is we're going to put the wet into the dry. And we're going to make some cake out of here. Does anyone have any questions? I know I'm kind of almost there, but does anyone have any questions? No? You're doing a fantastic job of explaining how to make pumpkin bread. Does everyone like pumpkin bread? Is there anyone here that doesn't like pumpkin? Oh wow, that's awesome. Starbucks probably loves you guys. It's the season for the pumpkin spice latte, right? Have you guys gone out? I know today's the first day, but have you guys seen all the new treats that they have this year for Halloween? I'm gonna, you know, sell my restaurant a little bit right now, but over at Flo's we have a chocolate pumpkin pie. It's pretty much your traditional pumpkin pie, but there's like a thin layer of chocolate that pumpkin pie is good. Chocolate and pumpkin pie, what's not to love? So it actually tastes pretty fantastic. We might have tasted a few this morning. So when you're mixing the batter, getting back over here, try not to overwork it, or else you're going to develop that gluten, and your cake or your bread's going to be a little more dense than you probably like. Nothing wrong with dense bread, but you know, you don't want dense bread. A couple other cool treats out there. If you guys get a chance to go over to Disneyland, they've got apple pie funnel cake, I think, over at Hungry Bear. I haven't tried it yet, but yeah, it sounds good, right? I mean, I like apple pie and I like funnel cake. And then the other treat over at Disneyland that I'm interested to try is, I think, ice cream nachos, or sweet nachos, I think is what they're calling it, over at the Golden Horseshoe, which is always a fun place to go. So if you guys have a chance, you know, nachos are good, sweets are good. What's not to love? So let me get my oh, I already have my pan up here. Let me get my pie pan. Yes, ma'am. So, what's the difference between the pumpkin in a can and the puree? They're both going to come in a can. One is going to be just straight pumpkin, and the other one's going to be pumpkin with a bunch of spices in it, pretty much already done for you. So you could probably get away with using that if you left out some of the sugar and some of the cinnamon and nutmeg, but this way you have a little more control over what's going into the bread. It's a good question though. So from here we're going to spray our lovely pan really well with pan spray, like the non-stick spray, just because you want it to come out of the pan. Carefully do this. This is the trickiest part. I know it might be tough to see where you guys are, but there's teeny little pockets of flour. I'm going to come out and show you guys a little bit. It might have gone away a little. I'm going to, like I said, sneak all the way out here. See, there's just little specks of flour in there. I don't know if everyone can see that. Not a big deal. You'd rather have that than continue to stir and stir because, like I said, you want it to taste nice and airy versus super dense. So, long story short, don't be afraid of something like that. Another thing I see often is people like to slam it down and get all the air out. Don't do that. A little shake, you know, you want the air pockets to go away, but if you slam it down, then you just you just made it a little more dense than you probably wanted to be. So, through the magic of Disney, let me use Mickey's hand over here to instantly cook our pumpkin bread. And it should come out something like this. Yeah. Normally it takes a little longer, but... So the pumpkin bread, it will rise, it'll look nice. Just because it's brown doesn't mean it's good. It's 40 to 50 minutes in the 350 degree oven. Every oven's different. There's hot spots, there's cold spots. You know, use the old toothpick method. There's, you know, nothing above putting a toothpick in if it's a little moist. Put it back in for a couple more minutes. You don't want to keep opening and closing the door because then you're gonna lose some heat and maybe the outside's gonna continue cooking while the inside's just staying a little bit raw. I know that's kind of two different directions. Leave it in there, don't overcook it, but don't keep checking it. So yeah, that's pretty much the pumpkin bread. I mean, you could do it a lot of different ways. You can make it in bunts. You could probably do little muffins. I was gonna say cupcakes, but you wouldn't want to make cupcakes with these. Little muffins. Maybe make some. I'm forgetting every buttercream frosting or cream cheese frosting. Probably tastes pretty amazing.